Hey folks, so I'm recording this Kirblog very late on Monday night, February 2nd. This day kind of just got away from me and I didn't really have time to do this Kirblog. So once again, I'm back to doing this at the last second, and to not wake anybody up, I'm going to be a little quiet, so I apologize for the minute volume, but I think it is a little fitting, as this is it's kind of a sad day, those of you who aren't aware. Earlier today, Monty Oum, a very, very talented animator who created projects such as Dead Fantasy and RWBY, and he worked on Red vs. Blue, a lot of projects with Rooster Teeth down in Texas. He very tragically passed away today, and to anybody who might be listening that was a friend or a fan or anybody at all related to Monty, my deepest sympathies and condolences to you. I know it's a incredible shame that somebody as hardworking and creative as this guy had to leave us, especially at such an early age. So yeah, again, deepest sympathies and condolences. I'm so sorry, and I hope everybody's going to be all right after this. I got this question for the topic I'm going to go over today. I just wanted to address that up front real quick, because I know people will probably be curious about my thoughts on it, but I'm going to tie that into this. I got a question a couple days ago before this happened from onemanshowoff, who asked, Kirb, I've been wondering about the line between mainstream entertainment and internet entertainment. Like, which do you think has more creative freedom and has more creative shows made to tell stories and not make money? I talked with a classmate at the School of Visual Arts about it, and she said it really depends on what you watch to make a judgment of an entire form of entertainment. So what do you think? Well, I think that this is a good time to talk about some of this stuff. Again, I will say, as I have in the last couple Kirblogs, if I repeat anything that you've already heard before, I apologize if I'm going on like a broken record, but I feel this is a good time to talk about some of this stuff. The internet is kind of an interesting place in how entertainment sort of evolved off of it. I truly think that the internet is a near limitless tool for creative freedom. I think that it's just an open, amazing platform for people to produce, create, and release anything that they want, absolutely anything that their heart desires, anything that their brain articulates together, and it is put into some sort of tangible form, whether it is animation or music or art or acting or anything, any sort of media of any kind. New media is I think an understatement in terms of what the internet has lent itself, for what you can do with it. I feel that there are, a lot of places and a lot of folks who maybe don't even really understand like how useful it really is, and maybe they take it for granted a little bit. It's fine. It's ignorance is bliss, I guess, and again, that's part of the freedom, is you can do whatever you want. You don't know what you really have, most of the time, and that's not anybody's fault. It's just kind of our culture has evolved to where the internet is so kind of ingrained within, our everything that, it is what it is. But I digress. Animation in particular, I think, has really evolved in a very interesting way. Those of you, again, I don't know how old anyone is necessarily listening to this, but we started out with a lot of stuff like Joe Cartoon, kind of early Flash stuff, and certain things that John Kay was producing, and and then we kind of Newgrounds became this massive thing, and I've talked a lot about what Newgrounds means to me, and how I think it really was one of the big driving forces in allowing people to create and again just make anything that they want and put it, and it's there and it exists, and you can do whatever you want with it. And and then now YouTube has become like this massive hub, and there's more, and there's Hulu and Netflix and a lot of different places, and just new platforms within the platform of the internet to to allow for anybody who wants to create anything to show it to the world. Now, as far as the question itself goes, I think that the internet has not 100% reached its its maximum capacity, I guess you could say, for the potential that it holds, and what people could use it for, in terms of, making really creative, original stuff, that, is just for the sake of telling a story, as opposed to making money. I think that with any platform, whether it's TV or the silver screen or a gaming console, whatever, I think that, and this is not to be pessimistic, this is just, the reality is that there's a lot of shit that you have to wade through to find, the gold nuggets buried deep within. And, I think that there's certainly difference between, like, the best of the best stuff and the highest quality stuff and whatever. And that's really up to you to decide, and, as to what it is the gold, beneath all the crap that you got to dig through. I think the internet, and, Newgrounds had this rep, but I think the internet gets a bad rep about it in general, where, there's so much dumb shit, and, there is, but I think that also that, because of the fact that it allows for anybody to do anything that they want, there's something really kind of beautiful about that. And, again, I think, maybe we as a culture kind of take that for granted. But, on that same kind of note, there are certain people who are pioneers of, of creativity, and, especially those who are kind of early adopters of, the internet as their platform. And now Monty Oum, who, I'll be flat out, I've not seen much of Red versus Blue. I've not followed a whole lot of Rooster Teeth. I've seen, I've seen several of the Dead Fantasy animations. And, earlier today I checked out a little bit of, RWBY for the first time really ever. I'd seen, GIFs and some minor clips and things here and there. A lot of people, in fact, actually had been asking me, to, give my thoughts on it, and I didn't have an answer because I hadn't seen the show. But I took a little bit of a look at it, earlier today after hearing about his unfortunate passing. And, I've been seeing a lot of these posts from different people, staff members and artists and different things that knew Monty very personally, and mentioned, like, how much he inspired them, and, which I think is incredible. And I'm really happy to see something like that, especially that it's, it's a legacy that he's leaving behind that, is inspiring a lot of people to move forward and, try and work as hard as he did from what it sounds like. And, and I'll be honest as well, RWBY was something that I didn't really have a lot of, like, interest in checking out before. And, not for any bad purpose other than just it wasn't really like something that I was interested in watching, which, it's not to say that it's bad or anything at all. I just wasn't personally interested in it. And the other truth is I had actually heard, not great things about it. People being very critical of, like, the writing and the characters and whatever, And even before I had watched it, I had always held to this of what I thought was rather commendable, and, and again, I wasn't necessarily aware of Monty himself as the creative head of this, and how this was, like, kind of his baby project. But, what I had said was, like, what, Rooster Teeth went from revolutionizing basically 3D animation and machinima, when it came to, internet content, just for trying it and doing so much stuff like this, and kind of spreading the word of it. And going from that to producing an entirely original IP that they built from the ground up, a really, really ambitious project, that is it is absolutely not an easy feat to pull off, making something like RWBY, with a team of people over the internet. Even when you have a company, it's just like, it is not an easy task. And I think the fact that, they amassed, such a dedicated fan base and following to it, and, the fact that they've kept it up for so long and done such great work with it, I think is really, really commendable. And, and I have, like, absolute major respect for that. And the fact that again, this was Monty's, baby project, I think, in watching the bits of the first episode earlier today, it's like, what, even if this show isn't, like, personally, like, my thing, I can see the level of, like, dedication and passion that was put into this by him and his crew, and the folks at Rooster Teeth that worked so hard on this. And, I identify with that because, I mean, I had my discouragement, when I started working on Tome, and, to an extent I've still kind of felt that, seep in once in a while. Reading all these blog posts where people have been talking about their personal experiences with Monty, and just kind of learning like how driven of a person he was to work so hard and tackle doing this very ambitious line of work. It is really comforting in a way to see that, because I feel that same sense of like passion and like, this is something that it's crazy for me to try and do, but I'm going to do it anyway, and they did that in spades. Another example, actually, and I don't bring this up because this guy is also unfortunately no longer with us, but because I think that they also are a very good example. Ed Gold, the creator of Eddsworld, who is no longer with us, they passed away a couple of years ago. I never got to interact with them directly, unfortunately. I was always familiar with the work from my kind of early Newgrounds days, and seeing the show flourish, and still carrying on. Of course, Ed's crew is still keeping up the series and doing a really good job with that. The other reason I wanted to bring this up too is because unrelated to the question and Monty's passing, I was talking with some friends about Eddsworld in general a couple days ago, and felt it might be relevant to this. Eddsworld was a prime example of here's something that was in the midst of on Newgrounds, where like a lot of stuff that would often rise to the top, just as it does with YouTube now, video game related stuff, video game parodies and parody cartoons and unoriginal kind of stuff like that, from including a lot of the stuff that I produced at that time as well. Is what would get all the attention, just like how on YouTube it's like, Let's Plays and review shows and a lot of stuff like that often, kind of rises to the top. That's what's really big right now. But Eddsworld was something that I really had a lot of have a lot of respect for, because of the fact that it was, Ed and his friends, his two friends and his team, sticking to their guns, and having just this idea of like, hey, what if we made a funny cartoon that was an original thing where it was just about us like doing goofy stuff? It wasn't aimed at any kind of like, we're gonna pander to this crowd or whatever. It was literally just I felt the passion of just, I want to make this funny cartoon, with this stuff that I came up with entirely on my own. It's that I think, and the fact that it was so successful, again, I think is really the sign of, that's the type of response that these people deserve for working so hard and putting so much love and care and effort into it. To kind of go full circle back to the question, I think the internet has the potential for a lot of people like Monty Oum and Ed Gold, and several other people who, again, really, really work for, themselves, that are just like, I'm working to make something creative because this is part of what I care about and who I am, and et cetera. Those are the type of people that I think really deserve the most amount of props and the most amount of respect, in my eyes anyway. And part of it is also, because of not just the impact that they leave on the people that watch their work, but also because of, how well they utilize, this platform for such creative stuff. And, and I think that that's the beauty of the fact, again, it's like, because and this is not to say that stuff on TV or real movies or whatever with like big budgets, are bad at all. Of course not. But I think, when you literally are just like, I don't have to answer to an executive, I don't have to pander to a particular crowd or worry about an audience or anything, I'm just literally just going to make this thing that I care about, in whatever way that I want, with no restrictions or whatever, and just put it out. And then if people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, then they don't like it. But, and the stuff that is truly, great will be recognized and rise to the top and get the type of fanfare that it deserves. You know what I mean? And I think that there are plenty of people, separate from all this, who have that drive. And, and I think that as time goes on and again, our kind of our perception of media and our tastes and the trends, and just how even this platform continues to evolve as well. I think will probably change. I think that it's our duty. Anybody listening to this who's ever wanted to create anything, I think that it's part of our responsibility to utilize this platform to its fullest and really push the limits of what it can do. I think that it's easy for entertainment to be just kind of caught up in what's going to get the highest amount of numbers, what's going to get the most laughs and the most hits, make the most money, etc. But I think that really the core of artists and of any kind, of any medium on the internet, are that we have the convenience and the freedom to just do whatever, and again, it's there. And I certainly think that we could all take a nod from people like Monty and Ed, who worked so hard and so tirelessly and really pushed themselves to the limits, and and I think the message of that, the kind of overall feeling of that is it's worth being honored and respected in any way that we can. So, and for myself, I want to continue to push my own limits and and really evolve, with how this is going, and and do better and better, and keep working harder and harder, and and if I'm able to be even half as impactful as folks like the ones that I mentioned, then that's really special, and I think that's really meaningful and really important to me. And I know I'm kind of prattling on with this. I apologize. This is a very stream of consciousness one. And I hope nobody listening to this thinks that this is like a trivialization of the passing of these two folks that I mentioned. Again, to anybody listening, if any of you were people who personally knew or were just fans of people like Monty or Ed, you have my deepest sympathies and condolences, and I mean no disrespect by what I'm talking about. I think that both of them and the impact that they've left behind on a lot of different people, including myself, to certain extents, I think, again, they just deserve to be honored, and by everybody. So I think that's about all I have to say about this one. If you want to leave any comments about this, if you want to leave your thoughts or feedback about the topic at hand, or anything else, go ahead. And if you have ideas for future Kirblog topics, you can leave a comment about that too, or hit me up on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, whatever you feel like. And that's going to do it. So I know this is a little bit of a more low-key, a little bit of a sadder one, but I hope you guys got something out of it. Thanks for listening. I certainly got something out of getting to say all this stuff to everybody. And let's all keep moving forward together, and make the best of what it is that we have in front of us, and work hard. That's what I'm going to try to do myself, and I hope you'll do that with me. So everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.